I have learned that most people will regret things they haven't done and not the things they have that haven't worked out. So let me explain. There are many times that I have a thought, an idea, a desire to do something. And I either say, yeah, later, or fill in the blank. When I retire, when the kids leave the house, when I have more money, when I have more time, another day, right? We're like, yeah, maybe eventually, whatever that thing is. Going on a trip, starting a business, writing a book, deciding where to move, whatever it is. And I will tell you that something that holds me back sometimes, and well, not really. I'm not really that person, but I know there's a lot of people that hold themselves back because they're like, what if I fail? What if it doesn't work? What if nobody wants this? What if I go on a trip and I get sick? What if? They what if themselves to death, really. And but in reality, it is better to have done the thing, gone on the trip, written the book, I don't know, whatever it is, and it not work out, than to get to the end, the last chapter of your book, and wonder what if. Not what if what if I fail? What if it doesn't work out? What if I get sick? What if nobody likes it? What if, on the negative side? But what if I had actually done it? And it creates a boatload of regret because now you're out of time. Maybe you're on your deathbed. Maybe you are super sick and you don't have the strength or the stamina or the ability. I know some people that are losing their eyesight. Well, that really restricts the things that they can and cannot do in the manner in which they can do them. They can do just about everything. But if you wanted to see a sunrise or a sunset in Hawaii and your eyesight is failing you, and you don't do it, it's kind of hard to do it later, right? And some things we can't plan and predict and, prepare for. And so the last thing, hello, Lori, good morning. How are you, my friend? The last thing that we want to do is get to the end of our book, our last chapter, and realize there were things that we wanted, we desired, we thought about, and we didn't do. And as a result, we're sitting in a boatload of regret. That cocktail just doesn't taste very good. Now, I'm laughing because this is something that long nails are good for, and it is turning over sausages. I just like one at a time. I think that it's easier to do this, and it's definitely quicker for me than to do it with a spatula because sometimes they don't turn over all the way. Doing it with a fork and having to try and flip them to get them off the fork is a little bit of a challenge. Doing it with tongs might be easy or easier, but I have a lot more control with my fingers. And so it's super quick, it's super easy, and they're only mine. No, I'm not sharing them with anybody, so it certainly doesn't matter that I'm using my fingers. But yeah, I just don't want you to get to the end of life and regret something because you were too scared. You what-ifed yourself out of your idea, and now you're sitting there saying, what if I had done it? What if I had done that business? Could I have been a millionaire? Could I have impacted millions of people? What if I had written that book? Would that have been my legacy? And you sit in regret. Don't do that. If you have the ability now, take that idea, that desire, that thought, dust it off, and do it. And do it so you don't end up with regret. It's not too late. It's never too late. You're still here, right? do it. Do it. Because the worst feeling is the regret and not the fact that it didn't work out. So I wanted to tell you that because I feel like that stops so many people. Maybe that's stopping you, right? Maybe that's stopping you from doing whatever it is that you had in your heart or you thought about, and you're like, oh, I'm raising kids right now. I don't have time. So all excuses. I know because I've made them myself. I have. I've said those, all of them, and a whole lot more. The only difference is I eventually got to the point where I did them. I did it. I wrote the book. I spoke on stages. I opened a business. I traveled by myself. I retired. That was a scary one because, as you know, I didn't do it just once. Did it twice and didn't really love it. And I will tell you that it's still a work in progress. I realized yesterday that I had overprogrammed. I had put too much. And I wasn't sure if I did that because I was concerned that I would be bored and I wanted to make sure I had more than enough to in a day, or if there was some other reason for that. But yeah, I had way too much in my day yesterday. And the second thing that which brings me to the second thing I wanted to share with you, something that I'm going through, which is self-judgment. Are you your best friend or your worst enemy? Really? I would tell you I am my worst enemy. Yeah. If I judge somebody, I judge myself for judging somebody. If I don't feel a certain way that I think I should feel, I judge myself for not feeling that way. And you're like, what do you mean? Well, whether it's I'm not excited about retiring. So many people are so excited about retiring. They're all, planning their trips and all excited. And I'm not feeling that way. So I start judging myself because of it. Like, why don't I feel that way? Why am I not excited? Or, so many people are fill in the blank. Dream of doing something that I have done and I've done it and I don't feel anything. And I was like, why do I not feel anything? Or here was a big one. Okay. So built a brand new house, right? Now, it was 12 years ago that we moved in here, but still, brand new house, built a brand new house. Kids are great. I have a great relationship with my kids. I have a great relationship with my husband. Back then, I retired early, right? I retired at 50. I had a cute dog. I mean, like, from the outside looking in, my life was good. So why was I so miserable? So I started to judge myself for not being happy because anybody else would have gladly changed places with me and been ecstatic. So there must be something wrong with me. Why am I not happy with the life that I'm living? Now, this was 10 years ago. But 10 years later, I still find myself judging myself. Why do I not feel the way I think I should based on what society tells me I should feel at this point? I should feel elated. I should feel worried. I should feel stressed. I should feel concerned. And I don't feel that. And then it's like, well, why don't I feel that? What's wrong with me? And there's nothing wrong with me, is what I'm learning. That's just me. That is how I am wired. When I was younger, before I got married, I didn't think I was going to get married or have children. If I was going to get married, it was going to be much later in life, and I didn't think I was going to ever have kids. I wasn't wired that way, right? I wasn't the person that just loved to babysit or just oohed and ah over the babies and, I just wanted to hold them. That just wasn't me. Now, I met my husband, fell in love, and decided I wanted a family. And I'm so glad I did. That I have a family, that my girls are amazing. But truth be told, I didn't love that baby stage, the infant stage, that stage where you get no sleep, the baby cries, you can't figure out what the heck it needs, the stage where you're tied to the house, you're tied to a schedule, you're schlepping a bag of boatload of crap everywhere you go, diapers and bottles and spit up rags and change of clothes, not only for the baby, but also for you, right? And, making sure that my day revolved around a schedule. I didn't love it then, right? So what's wrong with me? People would have given their right arm to have a baby and be tied to a schedule and be able to stay at home and raise the baby and not have to go back to work. But man, I was miserable. And then I judged myself for being miserable. And so, if you're similar to me, it's a journey. I think once I become aware of the things that I'm doing, the things that I'm thinking, I can decide what I want to do with that. And I have become super aware that I judge myself harshly. For all sorts of things, for how I feel or for sometimes judging others. And then being like, look at you, you little judgy person, you. That person's really nice. Why are you judging them like that? And then I'm criticizing myself. That's not a best friend, right? That's not a good friend. When I'm stressed. Last night I was a bit stressed. And when I'm stressed, I munch. I snack. And I like things that are, snacky like this. So typically that's more carbs and it's more savory than sweet necessarily. And so yesterday I had something after dinner that I don't typically have. And inside I was like, what are you doing? You're sabotaging yourself. This isn't going to get rid of the feelings. Just write the feelings. I was judging myself for doing it. Judging myself. Is that a best friend? No, that's not. That's not a best friend. I want to be my own best friend. And as such, I need to stop judging myself. And, be the warm hug that I needed yesterday. And to just say, Aim, have a handful of that. And then take a breath. Sit down. Sit with your feelings. Let me give you a hug. It's going to be okay. The good news is I didn't eat the whole box. Progress, not perfection, right? Progress, not perfection. And realizing that I was judging myself is a self-awareness that I didn't have prior. And then I get to decide how I want to continue. Now, I judged myself last night, but this morning, I'm letting that go. Progress, not perfection. Would have been great had I done that last night. Not going to beat myself up for that. I'm not going to judge myself for that. I'm just going to give myself a warm hug and say, you're better now than you were last time, and next time it'll be even better. And you'll be an even better friend to yourself. So if you're your worst enemy, be aware. You need to be your best friend. Treat yourself like you would your best friend. That's my new mission. That's something that I'm going to be working on. It's hard. At 60, I've had a lot of practice at beating myself up for the things that I did wrong, for the things I didn't do. I think I told you I thought about and, picked my phone up a million times to call my niece on her birthday. And then I totally and completely had a brain fart and forgot. And 2 days later, I was like, and then I beat myself up hard, like with a whip and a bludgeon, beat myself up. Like, what person does that? Yeah, the one that's busy. Doesn't mean I don't love her. Doesn't mean that I doesn't think of her. Didn't mean that I didn't want to wish her a happy birthday. But I beat myself up pretty bad for that one too. I realize that now. What? 5 days later? Progress, not perfection. I'll get better. I'll get better at being a good friend to myself. And in turn, I hope that makes me a better friend to you. And on that note, I hope that you have the most thrilling, thriving Thursday. and check your judgment, especially the judging of yourself. Do the thing that you want to do so that you don't regret it later. And I will catch you tomorrow. Make it a great day. See ya.